Nuclear weapons are now in jeopardy, and this is super, super concerning, friends. And their neighbors are getting very, very worried as well. We got 170 nuclear weapons that the question is who is in control of these things? As this country's military is starting to fall apart, as some of the units are going into open rebellion against the government, we need to talk about what may happen in the next few hours or the next few days. Nuclear war that may not involve the United States directly, at least initially, is very possible in the very near future. We need to talk about this. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and we're keeping track of what's going on around the world. And this hot spot over in Pakistan that I've warned you about is flaring up. This is still revolving around the popular leader, previous Prime Minister Imran Khan, a person who had a working relationship with Donald Trump. He was a populist who was for overthrowing the institutions inside the government of Pakistan. He was tossed out unceremoniously in a vote that has never really happened before. And then he was immediately charged with, let me get this right, as is being reported, various crimes. He got hit with lawsuit after lawsuit by the government. He got hit with criminal charges. He is now in prison, and his people have taken to the streets demanding his release. These protests have turned deadly in the last day. 2 days ago, they were peaceful protests to get the government to release Imran Khan. The government then started issuing shoot-on-sight orders to their troops throughout the country. And when you start seeing the videos out of Rawalpindi and Islamabad, the situation has gotten very serious indeed. And not only are the shoot-on-sight orders to the troops on the streets very serious, but the fact that multiple units have now been reported as standing down and refusing those orders. Once you start having military units at scale starting to refuse the government's orders, you are now in a situation where the government has lost control of the military. We got a lot to cover here, where this could go. First off, let's start off with the things that we absolutely know. Pakistan has 170 nuclear weapons. Now, these are fitted on, I don't know how many intercontinental ballistic missiles they have, if any, because mostly they have nuclear weapons to use against India. And India has nuclear weapons to use against Pakistan. And I think the base case is to see Pakistan and India get into a snowball fight, and it would probably not mean any nuclear weapons coming to the United States. Like I said, at least initially. Now, why would they start using nuclear weapons? Well, this is the situation. Pakistan and India have a very, very bad relationship. When they were broken up by the UK, as the British government was giving independence to Pakistan and to India, being forced to do so, they basically had some areas where they were kind of Muslim, and they're like, well, what should we do with these areas? India was like, well, you should ask the local leaders, and the local leaders should get to decide which way they go. Basically, the governors and the warlords of those areas. Pakistan was like, you need to have a vote. They need to be able to have a popular vote as to which country they want to be a part of. India was able to get the upper hand and got basically bribed all these leaders to decide that their areas were going to be part of India against the population who is mostly Muslim, and they wanted to be, it seems like they wanted to be part of Pakistan. So Pakistan, when this went down and India got all of Kashmir area, Pakistan was like, that's intolerable. One, because that's right up against our capital. Islamabad's right on the border with Kashmir. So that would mean India would be like just miles away from or kilometers away from their capital and with their troops, and that they felt very threatened by that. So Pakistan immediately launched a invasion, if you look at it from India's side, invasion of Kashmir, and took about half of Kashmir. This whole area is Muslim-dominated population-wise, but the Indian army then stopped them basically where the DMZ is now, or the line of actual control is what it's called, the LOC. So basically, they've basically allowed the fighting to stop, but they've had some spats where they started shooting at each other again with artillery. They've done cross-border raids. Basically, India is almost in a state of war with Pakistan. So India, looking across the border and seeing this change of power, seeing army units that are losing allegiance to their government, I think a lot of people in India are starting to ask the question, who's in control of these nuclear weapons? Because that's a very serious threat. Now, when there's chaos in Pakistan, that's kind of good for India in the sense that they're not going to be launching attacks on India. But on the other hand, who has control of these nuclear weapons? What happens if somebody gets their hands on one of these nuclear missiles or multiples of these and decides to launch a preemptive strike against India for various reasons? And military commanders may have various reasons for this. Political people may have various reasons for this. A desperate government trying to retain control of Pakistan may try to provoke a war, sort of like what Biden's doing. Desperate people, lame duck politicians may choose to try to start a war in order to unify their people and under their leadership. So a desperate government that's losing control, that has nuclear weapons, is very dangerous indeed. What do they have to lose? What do these politicians have to lose? The country has everything to lose, but the politicians may see this as the only possible way for them to retain control. And that's one scenario where the politicians that are currently in control decide to use the nuclear weapons. What happens if rogue military units or rogue military commanders get a hold of the nuclear weapons and they decide to launch them against other areas of Pakistan to be used in the civil war, so to speak? That's very dangerous, right? A lot of that radioactivity will just blow over into India. They don't want that. I mean, India's already polluted enough. They don't need Pakistani radiation coming into their country. That may be considered an act of war. What happens if one of these rogue commanders is a radical and he wants to eliminate as many non-Muslims as possible? That's a possibility. They may use nuclear weapons against India just because they think that this is what should have happened a long time ago. They may try to provoke a war to unify the people under Imran Khan. So there's a bunch of different scenarios here that India is going to be looking across the border, very concerned, and this may provoke India to do something drastic. If they are seriously concerned enough about nuclear weapons falling into the wrong hands or being used against them, they may choose to launch preemptive strikes against those nuclear weapons. Potentially land incursions with special forces trying to seize these nuclear weapons. Now, that probably will not go very well because these are fortified installations that are designed to repel special operations attacks by Indian teams. I mean, like the Pakistanis literally built them for this purpose, right? But what about India using nuclear weapons preemptively on these nuclear sites in order to make sure that they cannot be used against India? This may even be given the green light by the Biden administration or by China, so that and even by Russia. This is very concerning. Now, Pakistan is currently the current government that is under attack right now by the people. The fact that the people are not on the same page as the government should tell you enough right there. But the current regime is pro-China, very pro-China. And this is having the backing of the Chinese government. They've built ports. They have been working with China to build an economic route for China, Western China to get down to the sea so they can ship stuff out through Pakistan. So very pro-China. Is it any wonder that when they had their crazy elections in 2022, the State Department issued a press statement? First off, the Biden administration was dead silent. On the lead up to that election, they had internet and cell service shutdowns the day of. For some reason, the government decided to flip the switch on the internet and on cell phone service, particularly in certain areas, making it harder for people to get to the polls in certain areas. Does that sound like like any kind of interference you may have heard of before? Also, thousands of arrests of PTI members. Now, PTI is the Party of Justice, which is Imran Khan's party. They arrested thousands of party members and senior leadership, arrested them just before the election. They knocked the party name and election symbol off a lot of the ballots. Removing your opposition from the ballots, arrests, political charges being brought, and manipulation of internet and cell phone services. Have we heard this one before? Bolsonaro in Brazil, very same thing. Milei down in Argentina, very same thing. And now, and also Imran Khan in Pakistan. So as you look around the world, you're seeing these kind of pro-Trump, or at least they're willing to work with Trump. Now, I wouldn't say Imran Khan is a friend of Donald Trump, but Donald Trump criticized Pakistan for harboring terrorists, taking lots of U.S. money and then harboring terrorists. And then he did that again once Imran Khan got into office. And Imran Khan actually hopped on a jet and flew to Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump gave him a red carpet welcome. And they sat down and they talked. They talked things out and came out of it with a working relationship. Of course, this is unthinkable to many on the left and many Democrats inside the United States and globalists abroad. They do not like to see countries that should be enemies talking with each other and coming to arrangements and coming to deals and making things work. So it was necessary that Imran Khan got totally ousted. In 2022, with the election, they had a no confidence vote in the parliament that was unprecedented in Pakistan. They through all sorts of shady means, got him out. And then once they got him out, they started hitting him with criminal charges, just like they're doing with Bolsonaro in Brazil, just like they tried to do with Milei down in Argentina, just like they tried to do with Donald Trump. This is being repeated over and over again. But like I said, one of the biggest takeaways for us right now is the fact that India is on red alert. They are extremely concerned. India has 164 nuclear weapons, and they are pointed at Pakistan. They are pointed at the Pakistani missile bases, and they are watching very nervously what is happening at those missile bases and who is giving orders to those missile bases right now. And we should be concerned about that because if they start going to town on each other, it is possible that China will try to side with Pakistan. If Pakistan reaches out to China and asks for their help, will China respond? China and India have been getting into shooting wars and fights up in the Himalayan mountains. They don't have the best relationship right there. So we have a lot of things happening right now. India has been kind of more in Russia's camp. They've been buying a lot of weapons and weapon systems from Russia. They haven't really become a full Russian ally. Now, I know all these are Brics countries, so it's kind of like you may at least say, well, aren't they all on the same team? And the answer to that is, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. Just because they're on the same team doesn't mean they won't get into shooting wars with each other. India and China have been shooting at each other. And we have Russia has been, for the most part, sitting out all the conflicts between India and and China and India and Pakistan, but definitely China is very much in Pakistan's, in their corner. And so if Pakistan writes a big enough blank check to the Chinese government to come in and save their democracy, you can just imagine how, for the sake of democracy, China may send in its army to secure Pakistan, secure their route to the Persian Gulf, to the Indian Ocean through Pakistan. This is a very big economic corridor for China. A strategic alliance with Pakistan would be very critical to China. It gives them more naval ports over that way that China does not have. Almost not quite into the Atlantic Ocean, but it gives them Indian Ocean access, which is huge for China. So they very much view their alliance with Pakistan very, very seriously. And the people rising up is not something that China wants to see. And they do not want to see a nuclear exchange in their backyard because, of course, that is a very bad thing. So we got a lot of this kind of stuff happening right now, and this uprising inside Pakistan should concern all of us. If you have questions or comments, please do pop them down in the comments down below. I'm here in Florida at my parents' house. I decided to go outside to give you guys a little bit better of a view because those curtains are getting old, right? Well, it's beautiful down here. It's nice and warm, and I'm so glad to be here for another couple days before I head back up to Pittsburgh. But let me know what you guys are thinking about Pakistan. Does it even matter? Are you concerned at all? I've been saying that is one of the most destabilizing locations in the world, and it is possible that World War III gets sparked through this area over here. I know we got other flashpoints throughout the world that we're watching very closely as well, but big changes happening over in Pakistan that I wanted you to be aware of. All right, friends, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.